it out here, so everybody join in 1 second. Do 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 do. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good, good, good. All right. Well, I hope everybody had a great trading day today. So, what a day today! So we talked about turnaround Tuesday as a possibility, and we sure got a little bit of a turnaround here today. But anyway, good stuff there. Today is we're continuing our series on planning the trade, and today we're going to talk about the setup. This is one of my favorite topics because it's one of the most important things. Is before taking a trade, you gotta have a plan, right? It's so important. Sometimes we get lucky and all that stuff, but having a plan and watching it come together is really one of the best parts of trading. So good stuff there. Before we get started, everything we're going to talk about is for educational purposes only and not investment advice. So please take a moment to review this disclaimer. Do 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 do. All right, awesome, awesome, awesome. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look and see where we left off with the market here today, and then we're going to take a look at the futures and see what we're up to or down to here this evening, and what might be setting up going into the rest of the night and into tomorrow. And then we're going to take a look at the topic, and then we'll go through questions and chart requests. So let's get started. All right, so SPX, woo, what a day today. So again, down 30 points today. It doesn't seem that huge, right? But it was fun. It was a good down day. We were kind of anticipating it based on our wave count. We did push off the upper Bollinger Band here on the monthly chart. On the weekly chart, we're still an inside week, right? So we're still in last week's range. It was kind of a creepy spinning top candle, but we'll see how it goes right here. We still haven't gotten overbought yet on the RSI, so we'll see what they have in store. We still think we're impulsive because we have basically this first wave up, right? And we think we're basically just working on a subwave pullback right now. So let's take a look and show you what we saw going on here today. So if you go to the hourly time frame here, what you can see is what recently happened is we had a nice push up, right, on our for an impulsive wave here. Right, so for a nice move up here, we had this kind of 1 2 1 2, right, 3 4 5 ending diagonal, right, and then we had a sharp corrective pullback, right. So anytime we see a sharp corrective pullback, what we assume is zigzag, right, in Elliott Wave, right? So it starts with a 5 and then a 3 5. These are one of my favorite setups, especially for going short, right? Because the first impulsive wave down gives you the clue, and then you just got to wait, right, for this for the B wave to finish. And B waves are one of the hardest waves to trade. That's why yesterday was such a tough, grindy day up. It's like, is this really bullish, right? You know, when you kind of feel it. Yesterday, it was one of those days where it's just like, is this bullish? It doesn't feel bullish, but we're going up. Like, why am I not long? I don't know. Should I go long? It feels like it's going to pull back on me, right? That type of stuff, right? That was yesterday, right? So that's B wave type feeling, right? That's corrective wave type stuff, right? And so we definitely felt that yesterday. And then, but what I really liked about yesterday was how we kind of closed with a little bit of a pullback here at the end. And so that gave me the clue that I was, okay, maybe this wave B is done, and we're going to start this wave C down, right? This zigzag down. And today kind of gave us a really interesting move, right? So what happened is we kind of started working our way up right here, and then this was kind of like right about a 618 retrace area, and this gave us a good short opportunity here. And we thought this was really going to be the start of it, but really what it was is just the part of wave 1, and then they gave us the wave 2 move. So you can see this is wave 1 right here. Then they gave us the wave 2 move, and then we finished with the wave 3 down. You could actually count 5 waves in this last wave here as well. Right? You can see this ABC up right here too. So what does that mean for tomorrow? So what it means for tomorrow is that, and here we're already looking at the intraday price action. We did get some great short opportunities here, and here, right? And there was also a big dip by here too earlier. This was not as exciting. There was a quick little one at the end of the day, and that was about it. But nice downside moves. So what does this mean? So if wave 3 is actually done, well, what comes after wave 3? Wave 4. Right, and so that's really what we're expecting right now going into tomorrow. So we were a little bit cautious going into tonight, even though it was bearish here going into today. We may see this little hammer at the end of it may indicate that we may be pulling up for a wave 4 bounce. Remember, wave 4s from the top of this wave down, wave 4s are often 382s. Actually, from this wave here. So let's see this right here. So we want the wave 4 from that wave right here, right? Because it's the wave 3. It would be like 382 of wave 3. So that's what we're expecting, right? We're expecting a little bit of a pullback right here, and then we might see some more impulsive downside action, right? And so this is definitely what we're tracking going into tomorrow. Wouldn't be surprised if we gapped up about like, it's 10 points, 7 points or something like that tomorrow, and then we start to see some more selling going on, and then, of course, all the bears will start like coming out of the woodwork and be like, oh, the market's going to crash, and really technically what we're looking for is a symmetrical move from the recent highs, and which could basically correspond with this, zone right here is what we're tracking, right? So the big levels that we not to make sure we don't invalidate the first wave up is here, right? So that's the top of wave one, the initial wave, right? So that is the major level here that we're kind of tracking. So what would actually be kind of cool is if we got all the way down to the macro upward trend line on the daily chart, and then kind of bounced off of there, right? That would be huge. That could actually really get some big bullish price action after that, and then we might start to see some more impulsive upside waves, right? So good stuff there. And this is really, really good stuff, guys. This weekend we talked about with Paul. We talked about the importance of volume. And one of the other cool, kind of clues that we were looking at yesterday, right? It didn't feel like an impulsive wave, right? And why didn't it feel like that? The volume wasn't there, right? This is just the hourly chart. Look at that, all that movement in here, no volume intraday, right? On that big up move, right? It just didn't feel impulsive at all. Really, really tough to get along in that type of action. Wave Bs are very, very difficult to trade. We like wave 3 and we like wave C, right? So and wave C was definitely fun today. So good stuff there. Let's stay with the futures real quick and just kind of show you what we're looking at here going into this evening. Again, our entries today, a couple nice entries. Initially, right, this nice inside 5 down here off of the hanging man top, off of one of our key levels and off of the signal zone for a nice move down here. There's a couple little areas here off of the even short-term time frames to get involved in this. I did like the increasing volume off of this outside candle, so that was a nice move here too. And then we really started to drop right here, which was good. But here was another excellent one, another inside 5 to get us going on the downside too, which is great, right? So we got a couple really, really great moves today, and we'll see how we go into this evening. So again, like I said, it's potential for a wave 4 up, right? So we may see something like this going into tomorrow, like so we kind of have this A, maybe like a B, and the bears are getting all excited because the futures are red right now, and then we get this wave C up, and we end up like, why are we gapping up to up 7-8 points tonight, that type of thing. So we could kind of watch this and see if we get a wave C up later, and where we end up in the morning, right? So we kind of keep an eye on that and see where we go. Again, it's possible the wave could be it could be a different type of wave count. So we'll just kind of keep an eye on these geometric lines and see how they go tonight, and where we go from there. So good stuff. All right, a little extended there, but I really wanted to get into that the wave count. I wanted to emphasize the volume because we talked about this weekend with Paul with Algo 382. So good stuff there. All right, cool. So today, guys, we are talking about planning the trade, right? And today we're going to talk about the setup, right? So now the setup, I'm not going to give a particular setup this evening. What I want to say is that yesterday is the first thing that we were talking about is we want to know the trend, right? And there's a lot of different ways to know the trend, right? And one of those ways that we talked about was Elliott Wave, right? So that can tell you if you're in a wave 3 move or in a wave C move, you know where you are in the trend, right? You know what the direction is. So at that point there, right, we need to find the setup, right? So the setup is really important. So we can talk about this here with Elliott Wave here today. In fact, we'll go through this ES again. And so, like I said, since we assumed correctly that we were in a pullback here today on the ES, right? All we have to do is just get our Fibonacci's on here and be like, okay, so where is this thing gonna go, right? So if this is our last wave down, right, and we started to pull back up, right? So what we would look for is that 618 retrace, right? So or anywhere off of these key Fibonacci levels, right? And then so from here into today, right, we can see we did get this nice move up here, and again on the SPX, we were a lot closer on that wave, that B wave for the 618, right? And so once we find out what's going on, right, we could tell this initial move down today here off of the inside 5 down. So why was this a setup? Well, because we were expecting, right? We were expecting there to be some impulsive downside action today, right? So what we want to do is we want to make sure before we trade anything is we have to have a setup, right? Whatever it is, and we have to have consistency with it. So if you guys like to trade moving average crossovers, VWAP crossovers, TTM squeeze, Bollinger Band bounces, level bounces, right? You got to have a percentage of probability on those to see, if those make sense, right? If they're successful opportunities, or have the potential of being successful. If they are, then just wait for the setup. Wait for your one setup, right? So one famous quote out there is like, you can make a great living on just one setup, and that's it, right? So that's the idea. And so so that's the idea. So here we were looking at the exact same thing. We came at one of our key levels today, and we were expecting an impulsive wave down. And so what better entry right here, just using the candlesticks off of a hanging man and the inside candle, right, to take this down here today once we broke those levels. And that gave us a really, really great trade to the downside. It would be like 10, 11 points or more, depending on where you got in. And so it's just a critical, right? But to get in down here, right, you want to wait for your setup, right, and see if anything happens. So if you're using Elliott Wave, right, you want to make sure here we're kind of potentially catching top wave. But when we started to pull back here, right? Well, one, we assume that once we saw some a steep reversal like this, from the increasing volume coming in here, that this wave was may have some more upside, right? So we did get a nice push up here and give another nice move up here too. It's a different type of setup, right? As long as you have a setup for it, right, then you can look to take the trade, as long as you know how consistent it is for you, right? So that's really one of the key things. So once we knew that this retrace was coming in today, we were waiting for the next impulsive move down, and then all you have to do after that is wait for your next wave, right? So if in this case here, what we were looking at is this was kind of a 1-2. If you look at the SPX here today, it's a little bit easier to see with the spacing on it, right? So we had this this move right here. We were expecting a 1-2, right? So once we pulled back here, so what was this, right? This retrace right here is almost perfect right here, right off the 786. So you got your 1-2 right here, and then you had another 1-2 right here. So you had this 1-2, 1-2. Right, and this is great too, right off of these levels right here. So once we knew that, and we're still assuming we're in this macro wave C down, which we're expecting an impulsive wave down, at that point, right, then we can look for our setup, right? So we know the trend, right, because we're expecting a wave C in this case, right? We know the setup now, and that's it. We're looking to get involved in any of these areas, and so you can see here, we had another impulsive move down. We had a little bit lighter retrace on this one. So here we got this 1-2, right, or a larger 1-2. And then here you've got this impulsive wave down. So you can look at this as a basically a 382 retrace, a 3-4, and then boom, you know, a full wave 5 off of this one, right, which really makes a nice move. And so we can look to get involved here too on whatever setup that makes sense, either off of the retrace, right, if you like those, or potentially off of a, in this case here, an inside candle, right, which ended up breaking its way down here very nicely as well. So we got short on the SPY here too today as well, and SPY put, so that was great as well. So that's really key. Okay, so that's so the most important things for planning a trade, right? So far, right? So you gotta know the trend, right? You gotta know the trend, and you gotta have a setup, right? So really key stuff. And tomorrow we're gonna talk about another important factor that's really important for planning a trade, and one of the things I really like to look at before making a move. But anyway, good stuff, guys. Appreciate everybody. So at this point now, if anybody has any questions or chart requests, please feel free to plug those in the chat window, and we'll get through as many as we can and try to wrap up as early as possible so we can all get a good night's sleep and have another awesome trading day tomorrow. So good stuff. So let's take a look here. So Shirley sent a few in via email. Shirley, I hope you're doing great out there. So you got LLNW. So again, Limelight Networks. Again, starting to get up there, right? So we got a nice move. Let's take a look here. Highs. Here's your trend line. So holding trend, looking pretty good. I like the increased volume. I like that we're over the ADMA. Let's see if we try to push its way up here. The 50-day moving average looking pretty good right there. DLR. Let's take a look. So DLR. Let's see. Give me 1 second here, guys. Let's take a look here. Oop. Let's see what we got going on. Yeah, so DLR. Yeah, so Digital Realty, right? Another name right here. So again, nice push up right here. Here's your trend line, right? Holding trend back over the 50-day, increasing volume, looking pretty bullish there so far. Costco, yeah. So guys, this was a nice move, and this is really cool for anybody of those longer-term swingers out there. We love Costco, right? We love buying some dips on Costco, right? This is like one of the most strongest names. It's like one of those stores that is always busy out there, right? It's kind of classic, right? So here we looked at a couple levels, right? There was this zone right here. We didn't bounce off of it. Then we had this zone right here, and the gap fill. Oh, gap filled. Gap filled on a hammer with huge volume after earnings. Okay, right? So now we're just kind of grinding our way up here. 1, 2, right? Let's see the 3, 4, 5, and see if we can get a nice wave up there on Costco. Looking pretty good. PG. Let's take a look. Big strong move, right? So big push up here from the 50-day moving average to the 200-day moving average. Now we got the cloud to contend with, but looking pretty good. Good find on that one yesterday too. And CL as well. Nice find on this here too. Again, these consumer staple names have been like FANG names recently. I have a big push on this one here as well. Again, green too, right? When a lot of the market was red. So a little bit of upper shadow off the 50-day. Good stuff. Good finds there, Shirley. Let's see if we can get any follow through on those. Good stuff. Bullish and bearish trades. What's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Let's take a look at the Qs. Yeah, so Q's generally looking pretty bearish right here. They are still holding on to the ADMA. I think this will be an interesting one to keep an eye on going into tomorrow. Tech's been a little bit weak here. We're still in the trend box, right? We're sandwiched here between the 50-day and the ADMA. So let's see how those go here on the Qs. Walmart, guys, great stuff. We put this on the bullish game plan yesterday, public game plan, and we highlighted again this morning the Good Morning Market Prep video for members, and we put in the bubble report this morning too, and on our watch list in the Discord. Walmart, we just liked the inside day yesterday. We talked about it here that this is a nice impulsive wave up. There's really no reason for Walmart to be down as much as it is, right? They had good earnings. They're doing some good stuff, right? So nice move right here. Nice retrace. Not quite to the 618, right? But we got over the ADMA with an inside day yesterday and just showed some great follow through today. After a little bit of a gap down, but really, really strong move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nice 5 waves up here today, intraday. Just beautiful stuff. So let's see if Walmart can get any follow through, but nice day today on that one. ON, let's take a look. Yeah, so ON again, we talked about it yesterday, right? A little bit sketchy there with that candle, right? We ended up pulling back off of that pretty hard, right? The semis got pretty hit today, so it's not like that it didn't give us a heads up, right? I mean, yesterday was just kind of this blah candle, so it's tough to be committed, right? So good stuff there, and then MU just got pummeled today, right? So big breakdown on the downward trend line. This one actually has a pretty big trend box here as well. So over the recent highs and this level right here. Right, so just kind of keep an eye on it, see how it holds the 50-day. We got earnings coming up. I would like to keep it on the bearish radar, but we're right at the 50-day here too, so I wouldn't be surprised if it saw a little bit of a relief bounce. So some good stuff there. The NAS, what's going on? Can you see? Yeah, let's take a look at WoW. Let's see what WoW. So WoW, again, still working on this channel. So again, curling ADMA. Increased volume, right? Possible to test the bottom of a bull flag right here. Maybe it'll work its way on the 50-day, see how that holds. And then let's see if we can get some volume out of this thing, which would be pretty cool. And then LFMD, let's see. So LFMD. So LMFD with a nice inside day right here. We'll see if we can break out one way or the other on this one. It's sitting right on the ADMA on that one too. So good stuff there. Fast Johnny, what's going on? Thanks so much for tuning in, and I really appreciate it. Thanks for the kind words. Yeah, my pleasure. Yeah, so software name. So D-Dog. This one is actually, it was briefly on my bearish radar going into tomorrow with the inside day. It looked like it was, but it kind of crept up at the end of the day and ended up getting over the ADMA. So that was just kind of a, let's see how it behaves tomorrow. It could be interesting. FSLY, but getting tight, right? Another interesting one was Zoom today too. That was super tight recently. So FSLY, we were looking for a retrace to the 382. Never got up that high. That was an older model, but it is trying to work its way up here a little bit. So it looks like we found a little bit of support down here with some good volume, and it's maybe trying to work its way up on a larger wave up. So good find there. CRM, yep. So CRM, the big thing here with CRM, I just am hoping that we can catch an opportunity to get in at the bottom of this channel for a big bounce to the top of it. I don't trust it right here, right? If you go back to our favorite, right, the favorite channel bounce like Regeneron, right? It kind of got here this one time. It got really, really close, and it wasn't until here, the second hit, right, where it really started to go and gave that big move, right? So let's see if CRM gives us a similar. It's very, very similar. We haven't, quite hit yet a second time, but we hit here, right, and kind of moved up off the 200-day. We're below the 200-day now, but I want to see a hit, maybe like one more test and then go. But let's definitely keep an eye on it, see how it goes. Good stuff there on CRM. That's my big thing I'm tracking there. Mr. Softy, of course, has been hanging in there pretty well, right? Big upper shadow there today, but pretty good there. MDB. Let's see, yeah, kind of choppy, but below the ADMA, a little bit rest there. Adobe, so earnings tonight, right? So how did it do today? It looks like it's just going to crush some premium here because it went all the way down and all the way up and then back in the middle again. Just really rough stuff right there. But they did have some pretty decent earnings right here. 3.14, guys. They got the pie number here for earnings. So I guess they just did a full circle, and maybe we'll see some chop tomorrow. But keep it on the bullish radar, right? It does like to give some moves. So good stuff there. Coop, let's take a look at another software name below the ADMA, but looking interesting, a little upper shadow there. Team. Let's take a look here. Same thing below the ADMA, a little bit of a red candle on that one. Shop, goodness gracious. Shop with the drop recently, right? So a little bit of caution here. Is looking a little bit bear flaggish, right? So we do have a low volume right here. See this low volume? You can see the low volume, right? So we talked about this weekend, right? So here, right? So see how that holds here for Shop under the 200-day could get a little bit scary for it. I still don't know what they do, but I guess they're software. Anyway, good stuff. And then the NFT plays were epic, right? So what was that? What was it, TCAT or something like that? I mean, these things are just insane, right? So there was, what was the other one? DPMN or something this morning? I can't remember what it was. Anyway, there was one this morning that just was ripped. This was crazy. So good stuff there. They're like, oh yeah, we're getting to the NFT space. Doubled in value, right? In like 5 minutes. Incredible stuff. So Maya, what's going on? Going to see a DKNG. Yeah, so DKNG, we really like this one going into this week. Now we need to see how it holds this retrace, right? So it was looking pretty decent here. We're right off the 382 for a move. Now it might be working on kind of a sub 618. So right at the ADMA. So let's see how this holds right here and see if we can get going again off of that. But DKNG, yeah, it's looking like it wants to go, but it just needs a little more volume in it, right? So good stuff there. And then PLTR struggling here below the ADMA still. So it's kind of blah. So, oh yeah, Costco, epic, love it, beautiful move, right to the 200-day moving average, one of our favorite ones for sure. Amazon gave a pretty decent move today, tagged the 50-day moving average, came right back off of it, back to the 200-day. So let's see how it holds there. Good volume today, right? And actually gave a good sell setup today, which was pretty nice too. And then Tesla, so Tesla today almost filled the gap, didn't quite get it, right? We're still in the downtrend and we're still in the trend box, right? So it didn't quite fill that gap right there. We'll see what kind of action it has tomorrow. It did give a couple good setups today, although albeit a bit choppy today. Mike, what's going on? Good to see you. Good evening. Yes, a SPY, right? So we just did a thorough analysis at the open on the SPX SPY, essentially the exact same thing, right? So pulled back today with increasing volume below the ADMA, right? Makes it a little bit tough, but one of the things that we're tracking, right, is this, right? So this ABC move, right, and we're looking for basically this, so we have this A here, B, C, right? And we have the larger wave A down here, which is a zigzag, right? So we're looking for an impulsive wave down. So we have this one, right, two, and today may have been three because of the way we finished today. So we'll see. So tomorrow we're looking for kind of this the subwave four and see how we handle that level right there. And then we're going to look for more impulsive downside to try to look for a symmetrical move down on the SPX. We're assuming it's going to be, and here in the SPY, we're assuming it's going to be above, right, to comply with Elliott Wave law if the count is good, and it looks pretty good, right, that we're going to be somewhere in this the 618 range right here, right, so in this area at the worst, right, so but the 382 is possible, right, but we may still kind of pull back here to the 50 area and then off the 618 and see if that holds, and then we'll look to get pretty bullish on it if we see any good high volume impulsive action on it. So that's kind of what we're tracking here. So some good stuff there. Mr. Mosby, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. LRCX, let's take a look. So LRCX, a little nasty little pullback there today. Again, sharp move, but not increasing volume, but back to the 50 and 200 and the 80 MA. So see how those hold. Oh yeah, Funko. That's right. There's another one, another NFT name. They were like today. They're like intraday. They're like, oh yeah, we're gonna be doing some NFT stuff too. Right. So Funko with a big push right there today as well. Ended up leaving with a big upper shadow, but pretty funny stuff. JP Morgan again, upper shadow here off the 80 MA. The banks are finally starting to get a little bit blah. Zoom, epic. We pointed this out at the open this morning in our live stream. Incredible move, right? The 350 calls went from $3 when we were looking at $3.70 to over $5 on that move. It was really, really nice opportunity on that. Tricky for me. I don't really like going out of the money on it, but those had the most volume on it, so it's kind of interesting. But anyway, it gave a nice inside 15, popped its way up here too. But that contraction yesterday was just so tight, right? It's been getting so tight for so long, so this contraction to expansion didn't surprise me one way or the other, right? I'm not saying it was bullish or bearish, but I mean, if anything, it could have been bearish with a reversal off the 80 MA, but they decided to push it up today, which is pretty cool. So and good volume today. So a lot of these stay-at-home names were showing some strength today, like that one, and Piton's another one to keep on the radar for tomorrow too. Z, so Z here rejected the 80 MA here today, low volume. Again, the home builders had new home sales were lower than expected today, so that's another kind of interesting one there too. Kind of got things going a little bit weak for them here today. TTDA below the 80 MA, again tricky name, but looking a little bit rough there, but low volume. And then Snow, guys, look at this. Snow with the avalanche here, right back to the IPO lows. I mean, who even knows why this thing is IPO'd over $200? But it was much anticipated. Now it's looking much like a Head and Shoulders. So at the recent lows after the IPO. So pretty cool stuff there. Keep an eye on it. See how it goes. And then Michael, what's going on? GME. Oh no. What about freedom for retail traders? What are we gonna do? I mean, it looks like they had pretty good earnings actually, but worse than expected. But anyway, ended up pulling back off of this. So I got So anyway, it would have been fun if it went to 1,000 overnight though, and then the market was just like, oh, what's going on? Anyway, so yeah, I know, some funny stuff there. Intel, let's take a look here and see how that's going. So Intel, ooh, that was a nasty candle there today. Now that's a bearish engulfing candle. Why? Because the real body engulfs the prior real body. The entire candle does not have to engulf the other one. It's nice, it's preferable. It's even better when the real body engulfs the entire candle. But anyway, nasty pullback right there. So below the 80 MA with increasing volume. So keep an eye on that one, guys. The semiconductors got hit pretty hard here today. Nice stuff there. And then is ruining your TSM shares. There you go. Yeah, so TSM, guys, we'll see how it goes. I think, oh yeah, I got beat up after hours. What happened to Intel? Did they have, they didn't have earnings today, did they? Are they down after hours too? Oh, they're up after hours. Wow. What was the news on this one? Intel CEO presses turnaround effort with $20 billion investment plan. Well, I guess they said that at the right time, right? Because what was like chip shortages and stuff like that. Wow. Yeah, so I guess that didn't help the TSM after hours. They're like, well, yeah, I mean that's a pretty big step up there from Intel. Pretty cool stuff. That's interesting, but I'm sorry about the TSM shares. Anyway, it's about time they stepped up and did something. Intel's been pretty boring for a while. Cool stuff there. So, Michael, you can't stop seeing shark patterns. I love it. Yeah, we've got folks in the group too. Like, is that a shark? That looks like a shark. That's awesome. It's like, oh, there's another shark. And so, everybody said it was hyper relevant. Oddly, that week also, I know it was. I know, right? So cool. So good stuff there. And yeah, so good stuff. And Blom Broker, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. You got AMD and so AMD. Let's take a look. So how's AMD? Well, it doesn't seem to like that Intel news either. Thanks, Michael, for sharing that. Yeah, down on that news too. It's a big competition right there. So let's see how it goes. Maybe AMD will step it up, but again, rough candle here below the 200-day for AMD. And then of course, so can you believe it didn't fill that gap today? What? I mean, how? Come on. I mean, every day Tesla is an adventure, and today it's like, nah, I don't really feel like filling the gap. Like, come on. I mean, it's this stuff. At least we got a little bit of a setup here at the end of the day, but give us a break. It just missed the gap, but it did give us 60 anchors, so let's see if we get any action going in tomorrow. So good stuff there. Anyway, appreciate it, Black Market. Mario, what's going on? Good to see ya. Thoughts on the 45400 calls for SPY? Well, I mean, kind of getting specific into it, it'd be pretty tough. You know, naked calls, can be kind of tough to swing, especially when the market is volatile as it is. But, if it gets up and we finish this wave up and we really start to go impulsive on it, you never know. There's a possibility. So we'll see how that goes. So good stuff there. Tracy, what's going on? Yeah, FedEx. Great find on that one. This is one of the more bearish names that I saw going into tonight. It's going to be on the bearish radar tomorrow. I'd like to have seen a little more volume, but definitely want to keep on eye. I want to see if it's a rip shortable, right? If maybe it'll pull back up to the 80 and then kind of drop again. But very, very interesting move on that one there. And then, of course, Intel. Again, guys, nasty candle today on the daily chart. I mean, talk about a bear trap on that one, right? So there's probably a lot of bear traps here today. Actually, it even turned into an evening star reversal, right? Because we have a real body over this candle right here, and then this closed 50% of the original candle. This was an evening star reversal, but again, the gap up tomorrow could be pretty interesting. We're at $67. That is very interesting, right? That gets it up here. We might see a gap and go on this one tomorrow, so definitely keep Intel on the radar for that potential tomorrow. It could be pretty cool, especially gaps above all these levels. That's a professional gap. Right, so that could be really, really intense, and could see some short squeezing on that too. Very, very good timing on their part. That's what I would do if I were the CEO. Just wait for a bearish engulfing candle, right, where everybody's short on it, and be like, come up with an announcement like that, and then just be like, just squeeze them out, right? So it's like, your qualifications for becoming CEO. It's like, how good are you at reading charts, right? So good stuff there. Anyway, so BJ. Let's take a look at this one here. So yeah, BJ's wholesale again, big push right there. Again, not as strong as Costco today, but good push right there. A little bit of an upper shadow. So see how that holds right there. So good stuff there. So Michael, you got puts on MViz. Let's take a look at MViz at 1877. Then use that to swing GME shares into earnings, and it's gone. Well, good job on the puts on MViz. This is a crazy name too, and. Who knows? Maybe GME maybe they'll try to squeeze it up in the morning or something like that, right? So, thank you for sharing that. It's great. It's good stuff there, Mario. We got that one too, so we already answered that question there. Michael, I know TCAT, wild, isn't it? Wild name. Wild name. Ron, what's going on? Good to see you. Yeah, Net. What was going on with this one after hours? This one gave a big pop here after hours too. Do we see any news on it? Kind of gave this random pop after hours. Cloudflare. It was from the 22nd. Reinvents the corporate network. It sounds like they reinvented like the nap. Anyway, so pretty interesting stuff right here. It looked like it was getting to the bottom here of this potential bull flag. We're kind of grinding our way up on that. So let's see how it goes there. Siag, what is NFT play? Yeah, it's crypto. We talked about it this morning. I know you're kind of in and out, but so NFT basically is non-fungible token, right? And so what it is basically you make this blockchain encryption of like original digital stuff, right? And then you can sell it, right? But it's non-fungible because it's not money, right? So it's just this NFT, right? It's this non-fungible token. So for instance, like this morning or yesterday, what was it? What's his name? Jack Dorsey. He did an NFT. He auctioned off an NFT of his first tweet, right? And somebody's paid like $2 million for it, and it was to benefit like COVID rescue in Africa, right? So yeah, so that's an NFT. So it's basically like a blockchain encryption of like some digital art, right? The first, remember that one guy like Beeble or whatever sold the digital art for $69 million. It was a NFT, right? I mean, just crazy stuff like that. So now it's the new hype thing, right? So anybody who gets involved in NFT or NFT technology, it's basically like blockchain with a spin on it, right? Then they start ripping, right? So that's the big thing. Last it was SPACs, now it's like then it was electric vehicles, right? Pot and all that stuff. Now it's NFTs. So that's what we got. So that's NFTs. Derry, what's going on? Good to see you. Good evening. Let's take a look at Neo and see how it's doing here. So Neo. It's basically a big scam. Anyway, so Neo here is lower volume here below the 80 MA. So kind of see how it holds right here. It's been a little bit out of play for a while. It's kind of choppy action, but look to see if we get some strength one of these days. See if it's ready to get going again. So good stuff there. Nice pawn broker. So LRCX is up too. You guys always sneak these on me here. LRCX. Now LRCX. Y'all wild ones love to trade this one. This is such a tough name to trade. I usually don't spend. Yeah, nice to see it up here with Intel. Good stuff there. Yeah, so nasty day today, and then squeezing out the bears. So yeah, this could be an interesting one too. Keep an eye on Intel tomorrow, guys. Could be a very, very interesting one. Very, very interesting for the gap and go radar. So cool stuff there. So see how GME is making a big challenge for the Kings bag holders. All right. So Rumeso, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. What you got? So you got BLNK. Let's take a look. Yes, BLK got out of this bull flag right here. It's kind of pulling back and retesting it. So again, hopefully maybe tomorrow we'll get a little bit of a pre-earnings run. We've got earnings in 2 days after the close. So tomorrow's kind of a big day for it, right? So to see if we can get a little pre-earnings run. Intel's opening 2 new chip manufacturers. Nice, good stuff right there. And then Nest, wow, on the monthly. Let's take a look. So interesting pullback right here. Monthly chart, still pretty good. Turning into a shooting star. So a little bit of caution off of that one there too. Not inside, right? Not inside, right? So technically, right, this to be an inside candle, right, the whole body has to be inside it, and it's also technically not a harami either, so because the real body has to be inside the prior real body fully, right? So it's just, but it's starting to turn into like a shooting star, so a little bit of caution off of that too. So good stuff there. Nico, what's going on? Good to see you. What do you use as confirmation to enter a day trade? Yeah, a couple different things. I like to see volume, right, and I like to see a good candle. Right, so just for instance, right, if I'm, for instance, let's just take a look at like the ES here today, right? So so we day traded this today. A lot of times I'll just go like if I just see things working and the setup is excellent off of a 5-minute candle, I'll go with that, right? So here today, I mean, there was just we were expecting it, right? We had we talked about the Elliott Wave count on it. We were expecting a pullback today, a Wave C pullback. So this just gave a good opportunity off of this candle right here for a nice move. But you can use it to refine your entry, right? You can always refine your entry by going to a smaller time frame, right? So this was the candle here was 1025 to 1030, right? So you just go, you can go to your 1-minute chart. You can even go to your tick chart on the futures. So 1035, 1030 right in here, right? You kind of see you got a very, very similar move, right? Right off of this candle right here. So this is coming into that candle. Look at the volume that was increasing on this right off of a doji reversal, right? So you have this right here with increased volume, and that starts to get things going. They have another inside candle right here to kind of get things moving as well. So just refining that. I like to look at candles. I like to look at volume. That's how I refine entries, by going to the lower term time frames. That's kind of the big issues right there. And then, of course, having a plan, right? Knowing your trend, right? Knowing what your trend is, and Elliott Wave can help a lot with that. So good stuff there. So Michael, do you think companies have technical analysts that spot good chart setups and tell CEOs to drop news? I know exactly. I would. I totally would. That'd be awesome. Sometimes Elon, he does. So he's like, well, at least he's got a knack for it, right? He knows when the bears are like really trying to squeeze him, trying to short him and all that stuff, and he'll come out with some crazy stuff and get him squeezed out. But yeah, that would be awesome. Have an analyst on the team for sure. So Michael, what's going on? Yeah, so good stuff. I love it. So Ali, yeah. So Hoff V. Let's take a look. So at the Hoff. Look at this thing go. Good gravy, Michael. Look at this one. Look at that after hours. Hall of Fame. I tell you guys are incredible finding this stuff. Big inside data. It looks like we're going to have a gap up tomorrow on this one. Great find right there. And then DLPN partnership. Nice. Well, that pretty much explains it. There you go. This had a big day today here, too. Oh, this was the one. Yeah, this is the partnership. Thank you for mentioning that. DLP, this is the one. They're doing that stuff. They're doing the NFTs this morning. It was like this morning. And it kept on going. Good grief. Incredible move today. Look at that, Michael. I love it. Yeah, I figured you'd like that one. Great find, Ollie. Appreciate it. So, Bear, what's going on? Good to see it. Yeah, TTCF. Let's take a look. So to Tattooed Chef, yeah, a little bit pullback here below the AMA test in the 200 day, right? This channel here is really critical here for the Tattooed Chef. You kind of this ABC kind of pullback right here, but it might be working on a bigger move, right? So we maybe continue to channel it down. This could be kind of 1, 2, 3, 4 channel-ish type move, right? So see what if it passes below the 200 moving average. See how it handles the bottom of the channel if it wants to go for a bounce there. So good stuff there, and then skills. What skills to pay the bills? So good stuff right there. But inside day down to increased volume, right? So it looks pretty looks a little bit rough, but see how it goes going in tomorrow. Good stuff. Awesome. So David, what's happening? Good to see you. Yeah. So AMC, we're kind of hoping maybe kind of sort of this thing would get going. We talked about it yesterday off the 618. Right, and then we were hoping that GameStop would have some good earnings, which it didn't. So it's kind of down in sympathy with GameStop. So just kind of see how it holds here going into tomorrow. Again, see how it holds that 618 area. Maybe we can get back out of the cloud and get going there today. So that would be nice. And then DNN. Again, rough pullback here today. But remember, Doji, not really too much to be excited about yesterday. Kind of a gravestone Doji, too. It did gap up and kind of pull back off it. So a little bit of a Doji reversal right there. So, Michael, yeah, save the Dolphins. I love it. And how do you find Hop V kind of stocks? I know, you just got to... I mean, a lot of these things are here, but Hop V was, again, it was the DLPN. Yeah, exactly. Save the Dolphins. Was on the squawk this morning, right? So we have that stuff, too. And then Ollie Atlas. What do we got? So... Atlas Corp, is this the one? Not sure, but cool stuff right there. Awesome. Really appreciate it, guys. So, guys, great chart request tonight. Awesome questions. Really appreciate everybody for tuning in. I hope everybody has a wonderful evening. We'll see y'all bright and early tomorrow. If you're new here, be sure to click subscribe on YouTube. And even if you're not new here, whether you're new here or not, please hit the like button. It goes a long way. Even if you're watching the recording, we always appreciate it. Just hit the thumbs up. And oh no, Atlas is a Discord chat. Oh, I gotcha. So be sure to hit the like button. Really appreciate it. And we'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow. We'll see you in the Bubble Report, and we will see you in the Discord too for our Elite Access members. So I hope everybody has a wonderful evening. Stay healthy out there, and remember your risk first, and stay safe so you can stay in the game. And we'll talk to you guys soon.